Welcome to the Freight Agent Insider Podcast, hosted by Levi Van Pay.
Welcome in, one and all. We are back, but we're back in a new way because there's a brand new studio. If you're listening to this and you're not watching it, I highly recommend to just take a peek. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but take a peek. We're moving up in the world. I'm like a Thanos mini here with this upgrade. I've got 3 Infinity Stones. I had 1. I now have 3 Infinity Stones. Stopping there. Any more and the electrical starts cutting out. So we're going to keep it at 3 Infinity Stones. New studio. This is great, guys. And it's all because of everybody who's watching this, making it a thing. This was nothing. This was nothing until it became something, and now we've got a lot of momentum. We're going to keep that momentum rolling. We're going to keep the momentum rolling with an awesome guest today. We'll get to him in just a moment, but before we do, just a couple of show notes. I'm very excited to talk about the Freight Agent Expo. Fax, like fax machine 27. So fax27.com is the website. This is a Freight Agent Expo that I'm putting on in Las Vegas at the Fontainebleau. It's a very classy place. I can't pronounce it. January 15th and 16th of 2027. This is going to be really, really fun. Check out the website, see the speakers that are already lined up, and we're going to see you there. Please be sure to like and subscribe all of our channels, TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts. We're now on X as well. It's very pathetic. We've got 0 followers on X. So we need your help to bring the crowd over there. FreightAgentInsider.com. Head to the page Talk to Us Live, where you can pre-record questions for our show guests. We will play those recorded questions on the show for our guests, have them answered live, which is a lot of fun. All right, everybody, let's just dive into this. He's a first-time guest on the show, very talented guy. We're going to be talking a little bit about car hauling today, amongst other things. Brandon Gardner, everyone. Brandon, how are you today?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate
Excited to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I'm excited for this conversation, especially because car hauling is one of the most misunderstood spaces in logistics.
Oh, yeah. You're telling me it's incredible, man, because I've been in the space you've been in much longer than me, but I've been in for about 5 years on the agent side. And in that entire time, I've had a grand total of 0 car hauling freight agents. And it's a big part of it is most of us have no idea how it operates, whether it's the insurance side, the claim side of it, the carrier side of it's completely different. And most freight agent brokerages I know also don't have car hauling agents on their team. So Brandon, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up where you are and exactly what you're doing now.
I'm going to give you the short story because it's very long. I've been in the business for 20 years now. Started out with a dispatch agency, moved from having a dispatch agency to operating a fleet. I had 15 trucks, went from that fleet to expand into a brokerage, ended up exiting that brokerage, and then started it again. I started a new one back in during the pandemic, actually. My company now, which is TrackStar, and I started that during the pandemic, and it's kind of been rocking and rolling ever since. And that's what brought me here. That's like kind of like the short story of my background. I don't want to kind of go into extreme detail, like because we don't have a bunch of time for that.
Yeah, I wish we did. Unfortunately, myself and all of our listeners, we have the attention span of goldfish nowadays. So, as we all do. So we try to keep this short and sweet. Tell us a little bit about TrackStar, man. What is that?
Yeah, TrackStar is my logistics arm of my corporation. We're a full range supply chain solutions, everything from intermodal all the way to ocean and air. And one of some things that we really niche on is the auto hauling. And I feel like we have some amazing partners amazing carriers, amazing people around us that make this thing go.
Most of us, I feel like, stumbled into freight in some way. Like, I'm the first one who will tell everybody I didn't know what I didn't know what I thought dry van, or rather, I thought dry van was just like a minivan, and I thought flatbed was like an actual bed. I didn't realize these were like vehicles. So when I got into freight, I fell ass backwards into this industry. I feel like a lot of people do. Um, how did you get into this exactly? And how did you specifically get into car hauling?
Um, my dad was actually a truck driver, so he drove trucks for many years until he retired. I was watching him, seeing what his day to day was, and 20 years ago, I took an interest in, helping him. I partnered with some of my friends from high school, and
Hmm.
we opened up our first brokerage dispatching agency, as you say. So that's kinda how I got into this.
Tell me about car hauling. This is I want to just ask you directly. Why is this so much different than a typical dry van or flatbed load? What's the
Uh,
difference?
Honestly, most people think it's simple. They think you put your car on a truck and you move it from point A to point B. But the reality of it is that this is one of the most high risk, highly mismanaged segments in our entire supply chain when it comes to, we're talking about logistics.
Yeah.
And I've learned a lot over the years from just kind of being in logistics, and I learned that, hey, in this, especially in car hauling, the difference between a $500 shipment and a $5,000 problem is not price; it's actually execution, communication, and accountability. And I feel like our industry is behind the car hauling industry is about 20
Yeah.
years behind the actual
Yeah.
freight brokerage industry. So I saw that, and I was like, hey, there's a need. So I'm always looking for the niche. I say niches
Yep.
earn the riches. So I'm looking for that niche, and I found one that um, has a lot of room for improvement. So that's what
Yeah.
brought me into it.
Yeah, man. Outside of the podcast, I'm the director of agent development for an agent-based brokerage in Charlotte called Select Transport Partners. And recently, and the timing of this episode was perfect because recently we tried onboarding our first car hauling freight agent. And the story, I'll keep his name classified, but the story behind it, it amazed me. Exactly what you just said. The car hauling industry is 20 years behind. He was telling me about how he had I think it was like 3 Mercedes being transported across the country, and there was no tracking on the carrier. This brokerage, this could be a brokerage specific thing, but again, 20 years behind. The brokerage said that it's illegal to require tracking, so they didn't have any, and they had no idea where these Mercedes were. And I'm just thinking, this is nuts. If this is how it is, and maybe you can dispel that for us.
He's true. It's true. Because I tell people when you think about car hauling, you think about it like LTL. If you're familiar with LTL, it's kind of a similar thing. A lot of times you're loading multiple cars on one truck that are going different routes, and so it's really hard to track. And if you do, it's a bunch of bouncing around, and you can't. It's like if you were watching it on a like on GPS, you'd be like, "What's my car doing? Why is it going from here to
Yeah.
here to here to here?"
Yeah.
So a lot of times, people who are in the space, they don't provide that tracking
Mhm.
because of that reason. Now, what we do over here, we're more tech enabled. I say with my partnerships that we have, like I said, I am partnered with some of the largest, one of the largest carriers and brokerages in America, and also there's a opportunity that we've been developing with Ship Your Car Now, auto logistics, one of
Yep.
our major partners as well. And then us coming together with JB Hunt, Ship Your Car Now, and with TrackStar kind of being in the middle, we're just kind of leveraging each other's resources and skills to execute at a high level for our customers.
Yeah. Yeah, earlier you said something I like, "The riches are in the niches." Were you referring to car hauling specifically? Because I know a lot of people, when they get into moving freight, it's typically dry van, it's typically flatbed, or, you know, a mode that's similar to those. Why did you decide on car hauling?
It's a niche business, and
Yep.
I'm always the day when I got into freight. Years ago, I focused on hazmat and overdimensional because those were the niches that I wanted to excel in. And I moved from hazmat, overdimensional to ocean and air. And I actually focused on the harder thing, the easier things last. And I focused on hard things first. And then I went after the easier things like the van freight and I would consider reefer freight, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I focused on that later down the line. That wasn't what my first approach was. My first thing was to go, hey, how can I go after hazardous freight? Let me be the
Yeah.
number one hazmat agency in the company. I did really well for myself and my team. So
That's incredible.
I took the same thing with car hauling. I was like, hey, um there's not many. There are competitors. We do have competitors out there, but necessarily it's not necessarily like, when you're looking at the brokerage side, like a typical freight brokerage, um, there's thousands and thousands of freight brokers, but there's
That's
only
right.
really 100 uh, companies that are dialed in on auto logistics. And with us, we're in the top five.
It's time, I think, to bring car hauling into the 21st century. How do you plan to help facilitate that? Because I do think you're on the forefront of something big with it.
A lot of ways is bringing that accountability,
Yeah.
bringing the communication and the
Yeah.
transparency, and tech. Like I
Yeah.
said, there's other things that we're doing. Integrating tech, integrating AI into it is helping the industry move forward faster and try to catch up to where we are in on the freight side, the traditional freight side. Because I call cars as freight to me too.
Yeah.
It's the main thing. Products are products to me. I don't really distinguish the two. Like it's all freight in my world. So
Yeah.
yeah, like I said, and then bringing just my years of experience on the freight side and kind of helping integrate that into, like I said, the auto logistics.
We connected, Brandon, on TikTok.
Mhm.
It's funny because I'm more active on the LinkedIn side of things. TikTok, not so much. And what I tell a lot of people out there, if you're looking to, whether you're a broker or a recruiter, wherever you are in the space, I say the same thing to everybody. I would get on TikTok because it seems like that's where everybody's hanging out. I've met a bunch of large agents like yourself right there. Um, my question for you is when people see, and you've got a very active presence on TikTok, when people see you on there, I think the first question that typically comes up for somebody who doesn't know much about car hauling is what is the income potential? What does that look like? And maybe not necessarily for you specifically, but for somebody who wanted to become an agent, what kind of money can they make?
I say it's all dependent on the person. Yeah, I don't like to sell people dreams. I like it's about your work ethic. I'll tell people first off, the competition is not as fierce as when you're looking at a traditional freight brokerage, or you're going after general commodities and the things that everybody else is going after. It's not as competitive. It's more so built off of relationships. So if you're good at building relationships, you're actually able to go and talk to dealers and understand their pain points and stuff like that. The income potential is amazing. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, the niches are in the riches are in the niches, and this is something where there's a lot of money that can be made if you have the right intentions, you're with the right people.
Is there more of a risk is my question when it comes to car hauling versus if you've got $150,000 car you're moving, what does like the claim side of this look like? If there is theft or if there's just like a mass casualty to the car if it gets like extremely damaged.
Um, I can't speak for others. I can speak for what
Yeah.
we do. We streamline claim side. We've made everything pretty much simple, hands off. Even from our portal, our customers can literally go in and they can type in where their car's going, type of car it is. It gives them instant quote. We guarantee our pickups. We guarantee our pickup windows. which is not really kind of unheard of in our industry.
Right.
Like I said, we guarantee our pickup windows, we guarantee our delivery times, and then also on our claim side, we have about a 24 to 48-hour turnaround on our claims because we handle all the claims in house. But there is a lot of risk in that, especially people steal cars like crazy. It's one of the most stolen types of freight next to electronics and stuff like that, especially when you're picking up a $150,000 Mercedes or you're picking up a Lamborghini SVJ. You know, somebody might want to take that. They're looking at, oh, I'll take that, and it's- I see that they typically go after the high end vehicles, so that's really where
Sure.
the risks are. But it's kinda a catch-22. Who's gonna trust you to haul their
Right.
$1,000,000 car without having, some kinda knowledge or, background or some type of added security? And we have a lot of added protection, that stops theft. We haven't had any cars stolen. None of our customers are complaining about stuff like that, because we put things within our tech and
Yeah.
within our operational systems that prevent all those things from happening.
Like masking, things like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. I don't like to disclose what we do because I know there's competitors
Sure.
out, but we have a proprietary system that we use that I feel like is ahead of what's going on in the
Yeah.
industry that keeps our theft down. Like I said, we're not having we're having we move about 500 cars a day, and out of those
Wow.
500 cars, we're probably not picking up maybe 2% of our cars don't get picked up
Yeah.
on a daily basis, and then on claims, we're at less than 1% on claims.
That's incredible. So sucks for Dominic Toretto because he's not getting any of your cars. That's a Fast and Furious joke, everybody.
Yeah, and they're not able to they can't jack us. We got things in place to make sure that, our cars are being monitored, and also we also have a banking system as well that's kinda like you said, when you said something about tracking, I was like, we have an amazing tracking system, so we know where our car is. We know where all our vehicles are at all times. We have an amazing operational team that's constantly watching everything. So everything is we have, like I said, we put a lot of great systems in place to prevent it, and it helps our customers. And I feel like that's the reason why we're uh, in the position that we are right now, and why we're growing.
Man, it just seems like the car hauling niche was waiting for somebody like you to come along. I mean, it just seems like there's so much money to be made in it. And again, circling back to the beginning of the conversation, it's a sector that is just so far behind the rest of freight.
Yeah, yeah. There is a lot of money that can be made. Um, and I always tell people we're always looking for great talent. So and looking for new partners and people who want to, come in and work with us and you know help them, show them the way like I was, and then help them grow their businesses as well and produce for their families.
I love that. That leads me directly into my next question. And by all means, people reach out to Brandon if you do want to get into this so he can maybe help you. But my question, Brandon, is if somebody out there listening wanted to get into the car hauling sector and become an agent, what is the path that you would recommend for them? Because, like we're talking about, it is very different from just your typical freight broker role.
If they're interested and they're serious, you can shoot me an email at brandon.gardner@shipyourcarnow.com. So that's Brandon, Brandon dot Gardner at shipyourcarnow.com. And someone from my, if you reach out to me, my assistant will contact you, set up an interview, and we'll kind of go and talk and see if it'll be a good fit, kind of see where you're at currently, what your knowledge base is, and if it'll be a good fit for you to come on board and work with us.
Yeah, man, it's pretty wild. I've talked about this a couple times, but just the level of interest that I'm seeing from young people, and that primarily is our audience on TikTok specifically. The level of interest from these individuals who are looking more and more at sales roles because so much of AI is starting to impact white collar job potential. I mean, shoot, that can be anything from a lawyer to a doctor to God knows what, because no matter how smart you are or we are, AI can probably do that better. So it is a matter of time until that's impacted. But one thing I feel like is going to be really, really tough for AI to impact is what we do, which is relationship based. Because a computer ain't gonna make a relationship like we can. So I think that's another thing to look at for those watching. Something to think about is exactly that. I think there's more opportunity in sales, not only for long term job potential, but you can make a lot of money, like we're talking about. There's a
Yeah,
lot of money in this.
yeah, it really is. It really is.
So
Uh,
so so Brandon, I mean, this all sounds really good. Like the car hauling thing, like even just talking to you about it, I think we've talked about a lot of the good about it. Like there's a lot of money to be made. There's not a lot of saturation in it. What are some of the more unglamorous pieces of this or some of the drawbacks to hauling cars?
I mean, most auto shipments, they don't fail because of one big issue. They honestly fail because of the small things that were ignored early on, like things like bad vetting, poor communication, unrealistic expectations, which is a big one. Making sure that you set the customer expectations properly.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. We had a customer the other day. He wanted us to find the cheapest option possible to move his vehicle. And I told him I told him I would. He wanted to go. I told him what it would cost to get it done in a manner to where it would fit his need, where things would be quick. But he's like, I want to go cheap. And I forewarned him. I was like, hey man, if you're cheap, it's kind of in this business. If you're
Get what you pay
cheap,
for.
you're probably going to sit there. And so his vehicle sat there for days. No updates,
Mm,
no communication, no clarity. I mean, the vehicle is just sitting there because he wants this very cheap option, I call it our standby option. So, that's our lowest price. So it's just like it's kind of like whenever someone comes along or whenever we build enough routes, we'll come pick your shipment up. So
right.
by the time we even reached out and by the time the customer actually got his car picked up, he was frustrated. And I told him he was a little bit frustrated with me, but I kind of told him I was like, "But you're getting what you pay for. I mean,
That's right.
if you want that white glove, or you want expedited, or you even want something within a normal time frame, because I know what how our competitors ship. I know their time windows for pickup and delivery, and I was telling them, I was like, "Hey, if you wanted something better, you wanted a more proactive approach, you gotta you have to pay for that. These are the bells and whistles, and these are the things I feel like a lot of people go wrong at, especially when I work with other agents and I hear what they're saying and the problems that they run into. I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
it's because you're missing the little things, and the little things
That's
matter a
right.
lot. So, I was able to talk to the customer. He gave me another shipment after he experienced what it was like on their first chance to see like, oh, this took forever. And then
Yeah.
so he's like, hey, I'll give you another shot. Let's I got another vehicle I need you to pick up. And I say, okay, this time go with my opinion. Let me give you my professional opinion on what you should do to execute this. I stepped in, uh, picked up within the next day, and he was like, oh, he was able to see the difference of just kind of making that slight price increase for him. I feel like a lot of times, like I said, that's really where things go wrong. It's just those little small things. I know price isn't like the biggest issue
Right.
around, but it's just like, hey, $100 or $200 can make a difference because especially in our business of moving cars around,
Yeah.
versus especially if you want to move a Maybach, if you're moving Maybachs and
Right.
you're buying cars, do you really want to go with the cheapest option? Like, what are you going to get with cheap?
Right.
Why cut corners if you're moving a car that's $50,000? You telling me you only want to pay $200 to move this $50,000 car across the country?
Right.
What do you think you're going to get?
Yeah.
What do you think you're going to get for that? Like drivers still got to be paid. They want to, there's a lot of carriers out there, auto carriers out there, but can you trust them all? It's a very shady business, very, very, very shady business. So you got to be careful. And that's what I said, that's where the vetting comes in because
Yeah.
there is a lot of fraudsters out there. There's a lot of people who are doing just a lot of scrupulous, nefarious things. And
Yeah.
hey, how do we prevent this from happening? And I tell them like, hey, the vetting is really big, extremely big. So I say that's one of the little small things that people kind of do look over, especially when you just trying to service the customer and you just want to get the job done for them. But rushing on that vetting part of that is, like I said, one of the big things that people mess up at that causes some of the biggest problems. And the last thing is be like that poor communication.
Yeah.
People want to know. I mean, it could be extremely proactive. I tell people with the way our system is, we probably over communicate and to a point where it's like, can you stop telling me what's going on? Can you stop sending me these emails left to right? That's
That's a
kind of
good
how,
problem.
yeah, I say I'd rather have that problem than under communication, but it's a constant thing. And like I said, all of our tech is what keeps us ahead of that at the forefront. So we kind of, like I said, we put these things in place already to
Yeah.
uh, mitigate the things that we already know are going to in this industry.
Yeah. So all the car hauling agents out there who are listening, it might be a good idea to collaborate with Brandon because it sounds like he's not really running into the same problems a lot of you might be. Brandon, we're talking about things going wrong. I want you to take a listen to this real quick.
Horror stories and pitfalls.
Can you point to one horror story and or potential pitfall, maybe for other people to avoid in the industry, where something might have gone catastrophically wrong for you, just to help us avoid that?
Honestly, I've been very, very, very blessed. I mean, I'm honest. 'Cause
It's a
I'm
good
a
thing.
person. I'm a person who's super analytical, so I'm thinking about everything, and I'm big on operations. So,
Yeah.
um, I say the my biggest horror story was poor communication from my ops team, and just working with the client in one
Hmm.
instance. Like I said, we do a lot of things that are kind of hands off for our sales reps because we have, our sales reps. We want them to focus on selling. That's our biggest thing on our side. We don't want them handling operations. So you're working with us as an agent. You're not booking loads. You're not finding carriers for trucks. You don't do that.
Yeah.
Um, so the biggest thing is working and not communicating between the operations team, and then our sales team. That miscommunication right there was the biggest
Hmm.
nightmare I've ever experienced. It's just like, hey, uh, this car was supposed to be picked up yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, what the hell's going on type of thing, like, uh, and it's like, oh, well, I didn't get your email or it went into spam. I'm like, well, okay, but did you check the system? Because those are I feel like those are my biggest thing. I guess I've been blessed. I've never had a car stolen from a customer. I've heard their
It's
horror
incredible.
stories about where, hey, drivers are showing up with fake paperwork, or they're going, or
Yeah.
you got some rookie basement you're posting on Central Dispatch and Super Dispatch, and you got the fraudsters looking and trying to judge where the cars may be picking up, having people going in. And I've had this happen too, where a carrier will go to one of my customers and say, "Hey, I'm coming to pick up this black Lexus," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"I didn't send you over there to pick up black Lexus. What are you talking about?" They can't pick up my but that's that frost of it's like when things kind of
Yeah.
get leaked out. That's why we don't use sites like Central Dispatch. We don't use Super Dispatch. We have our own system, our own load boards that are only given to the carriers within our network that we trust and that we built our relationship with over these past years. We don't
Incredible.
I don't have those problems, but like I said, the biggest horror source is you go pick up a Mercedes and it ends up
Hmm.
in Mexico. It's like,
Yeah. You,
those are the
oh yeah, you must be a step ahead of even the car hauling agents I've talked to because the first question is always, do you have central dispatch? Do you have super dispatch? And I have heard that there is so much fraud that happens there. Um, and as we kind of wrap this up, Brandon, I wanted to ask you about your long game in the next 5 years or within the next 5 years. Do you foresee yourself, or I guess where do you foresee yourself? Is it continuing to grow the agency and your your business, or do you see yourself even leaning more into like the content creation of what you do on TikTok, or a combination of both?
I actually see a combination of both. Like I said, we have a full range supply chain solutions company for everything in logistics. We're here, and we're going to continue to grow. TrackStar is going to continue to grow with our partners. We are partners, as you see. I'm partnered with JB Hunt as well. They're a huge support for me. Ship your car. Ship your car now is a huge support for TrackStar as well, and our client base. Just giving us more operational support. It's given us more knowledge, resources, and team. So over the next few years, uh, I do see a lot of growth in our company, projected to grow exponentially over these next few years. We actually had crazy amount of growth last year, and we're still kind of riding that wave of growth. And as far as content creation and doing TikTok, that's really where my growth came from, to be honest.
Yeah.
I posted a video last year. Uh, it was around this time last year, and it went viral to me. It was a viral video.
Yeah.
And what I mean by viral, it was in like millions of views. I posted a video, it got 7,000 views, which was viral to me because of what happened on the back end. How many
Hmm.
phone calls, emails. I tell people all the time, I was like, that one video made me $500,000.
It's incredible.
And
That's
it didn't do it
incredible.
through TikTok. It was from the people, the traffic that brought me. So I see the importance of building that. And that's kind of like if you come around me and you see the people I'm connected with, they're like, "Oh, you're on
Yeah.
TikTok. I see you on TikTok. You're doing that." I was like, "Yeah," because no one else is. I don't see anyone doing it like that. So I'm trying to be that voice of the industry and that voice of growth and change from going from the way things were to the way things are now. As far as we're social is big, social selling is huge.
It
So
is.
definitely going to keep a foothold of that. I'm definitely um, looking to increase more content over this next few years.
Yeah, you're doing an incredible job with it, man. I mean, that's how we connected. Um, let's wrap it up with this one. Take a listen.
Freight Agent Insider Tips for Success.
Leave us with your best tip or advice for everybody out there listening. And again, man, we've got a lot of younger people that listen to this, and I'm sure most of them would love to make the money that you're making. So, what tips do you got for us?
Communication, communication. Tell you, this makes a big difference. Most people are so scared to talk, or they are very poor at communicating with their customers. So it makes just picking up the phone, being that proactive person, and not letting problems um, run you. You're controlling your problems. They're not controlling you. That's one of the biggest tips that I could tell someone that will set you apart immediately from a lot of the other people who try to be successful.
That's great advice. Yeah, I like what you said earlier, over communicate. Because a lot of times I think people are they think they're over communicating, but they're not. They might, from the customer's perspective, what you and I might think is over communicating might be like barely scratching the surface for what a customer wants. So I like your philosophy of over communicating. I think that's a great tip. Brandon, you've been awesome. I I know right before we got on, you were missing your phone. You were running around all over the place. I felt terrible for you. I'm like, oh, this is the worst environment to go into an interview on a podcast, missing your phone. But you found it. You crushed the podcast. It's a good day.
Yeah. Yeah, his phone's ring. My phone rings so much. I was like, that's why I told you my team was looking at me and they were like, "Where's his phone? Where's his phone?" And they're running around because we're at a convention right now. Our agent convention was this week, and so we're just kind of wrapping up. It's our last day of our convention, and
Yeah.
so all my agents are just kind of looking like, "Hey, man, we got to make sure Brandon has his phone." So they're running around the hotel in the lobby, and they went and tracked it down for me. Like I said, I have some amazing people around me, and I'm nothing without them. They make me who I am. I believe in also putting the best people around you
Yeah.
for success. That's another big one too. Is hey, the people around that you're around, they're going to make a difference in your life. If you're looking for change, if you're looking to do things uh, amazing, change the world, change your
Yeah.
life, it's going to always start about the people around with the people that are around you. So kudos to
I
everyone on
love
my
it.
team. I know y'all probably watching this, man. Thank you guys. I love y'all so much.
You're awesome, Brandon. Thank you so much again for joining, and everybody watching, thanks for joining, guys. We'll be back next Monday as usual at 9 a.m. Central for another episode. Until then, we'll see you later. Thanks again, Brandon.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching the Freight Agent Insider Podcast. Like us and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and LinkedIn